Okay, welcome to part 6 of the Opportunity Contact Role Data Table within LWC. In the last session, we were able to implement deletes. So we had the main functionality of this component done, but we do need to do a bit of cleanup. While I was editing the previous video, I realized that there were some things that we missed. So we did clean up the code, so we'll get rid of that. There are two new bullet points here. One is when we're saving, we're not removing the contact roles where the DB action is null. So we're sending every single contact role that's in the UI to the server, even though nothing has changed within those contact roles. Not a huge deal, but if we're not actually doing any updates to some of these contact roles, then we should just not send it back to the server. And another thing I noticed was that we are no longer just sending changes to the server. In a previous iteration, we had that underscore change component, but we realized as we were building that out that that particular implementation did not satisfy all of our requirements. So we got rid of it. The downside is we are no longer just sending changes to the server, but we are sending the entire row of data to the server if anything on that row has changed. This one I feel like is going to be a bit tough to do, so we won't do this one. I will leave it up to the reader if they want an exercise to be able to send just the changed fields to the server for any rows that have changed. But we will do this one. And we definitely want to do these because this is functionality that was within our user story. It would be a bug if we left these two bullet points undone. Okay, so where do we start? We will start with this one. So when we save, handle save. When we get the contact roles to upsert, or detail the DB action. So if the DB action contains a value and it's not a delete, so contact role DTO.DB action and okay, so if the contact role DTO.DB action has some value and that value is not delete, then keep it in the array that's returned from this filter method. And on top of that, continue on with our mat that will take our DTO and strip it down to basically just the record. Let's do that. Then we could just console.log what's in here to make sure this is all kosher. And let's change this to business user. And let's see what we get here. Great, this is the only one that's changed, so that's the only one that we want. Prior to this, every single row within the UI was being sent back to the server. If I change two things, a decision and economic buyer, then there should now be two rows. Great, and let's just make sure that that all saved. And we have Quinn and Williams, Malachi, Aaron, and Brees. Decision maker, economic buyer, business user, and economic buyer. That all looks great. And no primary. Wonderful. All right, so that all works. So now we can get rid of this. And only send to server rows that were changed. And as we mentioned, we will not do this one. So we have two things left. Ensure only one row is primary. So how do we implement this? So what is the flow here? They'll click this, then go here, handle primary change, dispatch. There's nothing that needs to be done there. But here, when we handle the contact role change, if it's primary, we got to do something special. So I think what we need to do is we need to make this a different change event. So let's strip this out and just call a different event. New custom event primary change. But we also want the ID. So not only do we want is primary, but we want the ID of the contact role that sent it. So we must now handle that new event on primary change, I guess we called it. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit too verbose. I like on primary change. Handle primary change. Let's get rid of these quotes. And here we will now have a handle primary change event. Or now we will have a handle primary change method. And what do we want to do? We want to uncheck anything else that is primary except for that one. We do still have to call the contact role change event. But then on top of that, what we want to do here is we want to unset the is primary flag for the contact role that used to have it. So how do we do that? So to simplify, I could do if contact role dto.record.id is equal to event.detail.id, then I could just return the contact role DTO if contact role DTO.record.is primary. If it's not primary, then I could just return the contact role DTO. Otherwise, I will set that to false, and if it's create, keep it create, otherwise update. So then setting this DTO will then call the getter. Since this thing changed, this will automatically cause this thing to react, or this thing to change, which will then cause the UI to react to that change. If we go ahead and refresh, hopefully if I check that one and then check this one, yes, 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 yes. Great. And then I can save this, and Quinn and William should now have primary. Great. So if I go ahead and change this up, then now Malachi Corley should be primary. Amazing. All right, done. Sure that we can have two of the same contact in the same op. All right, so we're just stripping everything out that we did. I need a separate event. So we have handle role change, we have handle contact change. What a twist of events. We're unfactoring our refactoring. Well, this one I don't know. You know what? Let's keep this one. Let's not say this. This great thing about committing frequently is I could just close out of the file, get rid of all my updates, and I have my latest save point, and everything is back to normal. So for this contact change, well, like, what am I going to switch the other contact to? Like, if I choose Malachi Corley here, I don't want to blank this out. Maybe they want to just rejigger some of these, or they want to play around with the contacts. I'm going to let them. I'm going to stop them when they click the save button before it even goes to the server. Handle save. So let's do some checks here. Even before is saving as true, let's do some validating. So let's validate. Here, validate. If we find two of the same contact, so we are going to do a const dupe contact. Close this dot underscore contact role dot filter. No, dot find join. For each, I think for each is fine, right? Is there something for like every entry at join map shift / sum? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just do this manually. Sum is one or more, right? So that doesn't help. It has to be two or more for each. Contact role DTO. And I don't need to do this. And then I have a try around here. Patch error. This.dispatch event. And then show toast event. I feel like this should work. Let's see console.error. Error. Two quinins. ID is not what I want, but that's good. And I do need to return here, because I'm sure my database is now messed up. Yes, it is. Let's just change this back. And now if I go to Quinnen again, boom, great. But I need the name. How do I get the name? I'm not bringing in the name ever. All right, let's look at Lightning Record Picker. Change. Oh boy. So I would have to bring in the contact's name before I show it. I don't know if that's worth it. I could just have a generic message saying there is a duplicate contact within your roles. Please fix. But then what if the list is like 30 contact roles? That would be dumb. Like, why would there be 30 contact roles for an opportunity? But I guess it could be possible. Even if it's 10, it might be hard to find. So if I see this, I get this contact ID. Right there. Is this right? Oh, wait. Get record. Record ID and fields. So record ID, which is just this. And fields, name. Still giving me an error. Okay, so can I break out of a for each? Break out of for each loop. For of loop. Let's use the for of loop. For const of otherwise context add. Of course, we got to import it from UI record API. Do not have it. Ah, there you are. So what's the problem? What's the problem? Mother effer. Can't use that? Oh, okay. Super annoying. Oh, God. Content roles. Edit controller. That are enabled. Based on the contact ID. Yes. Get contact. Do contact ID. Dissolve const contact. Okay. If not do contact ID, then just return. It's great. Otherwise, I do that, and then I throw a new error. Not contact 0, just contact. Let's wait this guy. Alright, that took way longer than I thought. Quinnen. Save. Boom. Guess I now need to put this up here. And then I also need to put this here. So catch it. And this is now done. I don't know, maybe there is a valid use case to have the contact be two separate roles, but maybe the business will come back and say, hey, we need to allow it, then we can strip out the code. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and keep it. All right, so I think we are done. I would say two things that I would leave as exercise for the reader. One is to only send the changed values for each row to the server. And another crazy one, we want to make it friendly for smaller form factors. We may leave that for another video, but I think this series has gone on long enough for the first one. So I think I am done. A couple of things that I do want to mention here on what I wanted to demonstrate with this series is a couple of things. Commit early and often. I like to refer to this as your save points, right? Just like in any video game. If you do find yourself going down a path that isn't going anywhere, you could basically just throw away that work and go back to your latest save point. You should only have lost, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of your time, if even that. If you've seen my videos, I am committing pretty often. So this will save you a lot of time. And just think of video games, save points. All you gamers should know what I mean. Continual MVP. What do I mean by this? As I built this out, I started off with just the UI, right? So I just built out the UI. There's no functionality behind it. I didn't even hit the server. Within my JavaScript, I just had a variable that held some dummy data. I never needed to even add that component to an opportunity record page in the beginning. Basically, just keep building things out one feature at a time. Get that working. Don't try to do everything all at once. And you know how the saying goes. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I guess another one is delete stuff you don't need. As you're developing, you're going to add system.debugs, you're going to add console.logs, you're going to add test code. Delete stuff that you don't need. There's probably more things that you can take away from this, and if you do, that's great. Feel free to let me know. And at the end of each series, I think you need to reward yourself for a job well done. So I think I will just introduce you all to what whiskey that I'm drinking at the moment. This one is the one that I'll start with, my favorite of all time, Lagavulin 16. So with that, cheers, and I'll see you in the next series.